Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. Just checking the volume. Yep, there we go. Well, day two has been certainly an amazing day of Test cricket. To see Cameron Green get his maiden Test century, and obviously Khawaja really cement himself as a true batsman of world conditions. It's clear that me and everyone else at Khawaja should have been playing the last 3 years. And Australia, take note, you've missed out on an opportunity of having a great player to actually play for your country. You've missed, he could have played 30 tests in the last so many years. And basically, Australia have neglected to play him in two Indian series, saying that he couldn't play spin. And he's just scored 180 off well over 400 deliveries in a manner where, you know, not many players could have done that, I think. And in fact, he and Cameron Green put on one of the biggest partnerships of the innings, biggest partnership of the tour so far. And realistically, there's just nothing but superlatives to say about the way that both, of course, Usman Khawaja with 180 of 422 deliveries, hit 21 fours. Cameron Green, 114 of 170 deliveries with 18 fours. He batted fantastically. And then Nathan Lyon, 34, top movie, 41, chipped in as well. Australia all out for 480 and 167.2 overs. But the standout for India, we can't forget that India actually had some very good bowling efforts as well. Mohammad Shami was 2 for 134. Sounds like a big amount of runs against him, but he bowled 31 very, very good overs and deserved his 2 wickets. But then Ravi Chandra Ashwin, 6 for 91 of 47.2 overs. This is his 32nd 5-wicket haul. Quite amazing. Australia played very slowly, calling the batting friendly pitch. Yeah, should have played very, very slowly. Yeah, that's true. Munchie allowed Munchie. Let's see how friendly, after both teams have batted runs on the board, is always added pressure. It's true, Munchie. But the truth is that Australia got 480. And look, India have gone out there with intent, with Shubman Gill hitting a massive 6. Then, in fact, the first 6 of the match, which is interesting because, hi Munchie. The fact is that that's the first 6 of the match, which after some 167 overs of Australia's batting, you thought that may have been a 6 someone in amongst them, but there wasn't. And in fact, Australia hit, what did they hit? They had some 28, 21, 34, 50, 63 fours in their 480, but no 6s. Whereas India have not mucked around, and Shubman Gill's hit a 6 very early on. In fact, they try to find the ball. They're showing South Africa versus West Indies, which I'm struggling to get much enjoyment out of the else. The Sri Lanka match against New Zealand, however, is very interesting to poise as well. Let's go into that a bit later. But yes, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill have both successfully been able to say calm within their 10 overs, and the score is none for 36. So effectively, India are 444 runs behind, well, at this stage. But it will be day 3. Now, India bat to their potential, as you would expect. They'll bat through day 3 into day 4, and it's going to be a struggle for there to be a result here. Sunday, there'll be a struggle for there to be a result here. You would think that India will probably bat out most of day 3, if not most of day 4. If they do so, they'll even up the scorecard. But that'll be 1 day left to one team to get out and then another. It's going to be very hard to do. Ultimately, I'm predicting a draw at this early stage. And if that is the case, India will still win the series 2-1 and will actually potentially survive and be in the World Test Championship. Because the other match, which is on, is Sri Lanka versus New Zealand. And in that match, Sri Lanka were all out for 355, quite commendable. The lowest run getter there was Naroshan Dickwell, my good friend Naroshan Dickwell, who got 7. He'd be a little bit perturbed. All these bowlers got more runs than him. But in return, New Zealand started very well, but ultimately were 5 for 162 with the likes of Williams, Nichols, all going, even Blundell going cheaply. Daryl Mitchell's not at 40 with Michael Bracewell. So then they're struggling a bit. There's 193 runs adrift with only 5 wickets left. So Sri Lanka could well win this match, which puts added pressure on India. But if India draw, then they'll get away with it. Green missed his double ton well. Green didn't miss anything. He took a magnificent century. You mean hi, Paul Newman. Hot Rod Songu London's also there. How are you? Aratha's best is there. It's not a horrible flat pitch at all. It's a good pitch. Green missed out on double century. No, he didn't. Khawaja missed out on a double century. Another thing I need to add, Pat Cummins' mother passed away earlier today, our time. Hence why Pat hasn't been here for the 3rd or 4th test. And I dare say he probably will struggle to meet the ODI series as well. His mother's just passed away. There will be a period of mourning, the burial, and all the matters that go with that. So I would suggest he'll be out of action for several weeks to go. Osman Khawaja missed a double century, but he won't look at it that way. He scored a century in India and one hell of a century, 180 runs. He really is in incredible form, and it's just a pleasure to see him there. But as I've said before, Australia made a big mistake. They should have had Khawaja in there years ago. Well, I believe he should have been much earlier than this. He should have preceded a few other players that have been out there. It really is somewhat of a thanks, Munchy, about the Cummins situation is pretty bad. But yeah, look, there's no fear that Khawaja should have played the last 3 years. And if he'd done so, he'd be up around 6,000-7,000 test runs, if not more. He would have scored probably 25 centuries. He's clearly a player of great note and has been left out for no particular reason, except for Justin Langer, who didn't take a liking to him for one and only reason. Almost the entire Langer tenure was without Khawaja, which bewilders me. And it's even happening now with Jason Sangha. I think Jason Sangha should be the next Australian captain. I'm maintaining that. He may not perform that well at state level of late, but he knows how to make runs for Australia. Both at under-19s against touring sides, he scores hundreds when it counts. Todd Murphy, Kuhneman haven't been that great at other levels. They've been thrown in. So I don't know why. And even Nathan Lyman, he started his career, was thrown in. So I don't have any doubt that Jason Sangha can be thrown into the test side and even bloody will captain, because Cummins is not, all due respect about his mother passing, but Cummins is not a test captain at all. Steve Smith has done pretty well the last couple of test matches, but after the sandpaper gap, I don't see him as a long-term solution either, and they shouldn't grapple with Labuschagne or someone else who has never captained, by the way. Jason Sangha, batting in the upper order, let him captain and watch things happen. That's all I can say to that. If you look at the batting, I'm just looking at the career of Australians in the batting lineup, and we're looking at the most runs there. Steve Smith, of course, is 4th on 8,782, but Khawaja now moves into 23rd position with 4,495, having scored 14 centuries and a batting average of 47.81. Very, very high after 6 years as much. He's only a handful away from going above 5,000 runs. He needs another 505 runs, which she'll get over the Australian tour of the Ashes. I'm sure he will. Green is the future, he certainly is. It is bright. Munchie, I think it has shown with Cummins and Southey that bowlers are not necessarily good on captains. It's bloody obvious, Munchie. You tell me, at any stage of any test career has a bowler been a successful captain? Bob Willis? No. There's been maybe both of them, but even both of them couldn't handle it. He was an all-rounder anyway. I totally think it has to be a batter for obvious reasons. Batsmen stay in the team. Bowlers these days get rotated in and out. They've got too many pressures with their own bowling. I think it's unwise to have him as a captain, full stop. And Smith should continue to be captain until they bring someone like Jason Sangha. Believe me, Smith should be captain to the Ashes series. I would agree with it, son Antonio Bose. I agree with it. Hopefully the top water will fly tomorrow. I think the Indian top water, Jesus, Robert Sharp and Gill should murder the Australian attack purely because they're great batsmen. Australia's Coley, Pachara should really make a fist as 400 and turn this into a draw, really. I can see India batting for 2 at least tomorrow, if not well into the fourth day. Bringing the scores up to 480 and then, 1 day to play will not be enough. Do you think Warner will come back into the test team or is he finished? Well, Travis Head's not the solution to opening the batting. I'm sorry. Yet again, he scored 30 off this time. Again, he looks shaky and should not be opening it. It just frustrates the crap out of me while we keep putting in makeshift openers. So, no, Head won't be the opening batsman going in the future. He'll probably get dropped down in the middle order, if at all. And you'll probably have Warner return for the Ashes, I would argue. He probably will return for the Ashes. I still maintain that Renshaw will be worthwhile having up there as well. Alex Carey's form has been a concern to it. Well, he's been still pretty good. If India and Australia make the WTC, I bet the teams will be different in a few months. The makeup of the team's bunchy, is that what you think? Probably will be, because it'll be on different conditions. Our Earth is better. Paul Newman, he is a flog. Cameron Bancroft should open. Yeah. Who did you say? I can make. Yeah, well, they're probably going to go with Warner ahead of anyone else, I'd say. At least he is an opener. Who else will open? I mean, really, Matt Renshaw was originally an opener. I don't know why he's not been considered. I hope Warner returns for the Ashes. Broad will be so happy. That's not the reason why Munchie will bring Warner back just to please good old Broad. I don't think it's the reason why we bring him back. Australia need Josh English and Cameron Bancroft for the World Test Champion Finals. I should like that. Need both of them. Josh English, potentially, but Kawaj is well over. Paul Pekoski may come back. Well, Pekoski, between his 955 concussions and 335 other injuries, I'm not sure where he bloody will sit, to be very honest with you. In my opinion, Paul Newman, I don't think Pekoski is deserving of it. I really strongly believe, and I'm going to keep saying this, Jason Sanger should be the lineup. Hello, Ariane Kaka, how are you? I think that Matt Renshaw or even Curtis Patterson should be considered. There are other young openers out there I know. There's the guy from Adelaide, what's his name again? People keep mentioning, not Teague Willie, the other fellow, Henry Hunt, is it Henry Hunt? Yeah, but I'm not really sure about him either. I think we'll stick to Jason Sanger should go in there, and I actually think that Curtis Patterson's worthy of coming there as well, if not Matt Renshaw. I know Renshaw hasn't performed in this series, but as an opener, a different kettle of fish. But they'll probably go back to Warner, out of all fairness. Bancroft is in form in the Sheffield Shield. Nowadays, at 825 runs, an average 6 hours, 60. Okay, with 4 centuries. Okay, I grant that. Whether we'll go back to him, I don't know. I think Australia pick up early wickets tomorrow morning. We can see results in this last match. I don't think that's what will happen. I think that India will bat superbly. I reckon they'll bat superbly. The ease that we saw Todd Murphy and line, that Indians will take a lot of heart of it. This could be 2-1 like it was in 2017. I think it will be. I think generally this will be a draw. I do. I think this will be a draw. I can't see it being a victory. India will bat out the next 2 days, and that will turn into a draw. Carey really concerned going into the WTC final, and ODI should use English, and we need Bangkok Ashes. What's your team for the ODI? Christian, I haven't really worked my thoughts through that yet. I mean, they've got the squad there now. I'm trying to get through this test series. I'm talking about ODIs, to be honest with you. Bancroft, I'm still reluctant to bat him, even though he's done well. I'm very reluctant. Carey's keep his spot for a while. I don't think he should be ousted that easily. Labuschagne was pretty quiet this series too. I mean, so far anyway. Look, Gill and Rohit Sharma could put on a mozza. I'll tell you now. And we could be in for a 5. India already done for 36 after 10 overs. They look very, very much at ease to me. Nathan Lyon's the only one's going to really penetrate. I think if anyone will. Your views on Gideon Hayes' piece in the Australian, Abhishek Sharma, I haven't seen that today. anything that Gideon Hagen writes is great. I'll try and look it up. That's the Australians today. I'll have a look at it. I haven't actually, being a person who always looks at the papers, I didn't have a chance to. I've had a few. I was actually not very well, to be honest with you. I had a bit of a fever, so I'm just gonna see if I can see what they've got there for sport. Well, there's one here there's an article here, unlikely batting heroes. This is unlikely batting heroes. It's got unlikely batting heroes steal show as Aussies make 480. Cameron Green makes a resounding century in Kawaja. Unlikely heroes. I don't know what the story is. Where's the article about Gideon Haig? I'm trying to find that now. I'm going to sport. This is what sport says. Ben Horn and Robert Craddock put that together. I'm looking at the article from Gideon Haig. I'm not seeing anything. He's homework gate, Kawaja schools, India 10 years on. Clever. Cool Cat open a Kawaja. Is that the article? About Cool Cat Kawaja opener thrives. I think that's, well, there's a Smith spins destroyer as pitch undermines Indians. Pitch? Which article are we talking? Time moves slowly as Australia keeps their heads to record famous victory. That's previous. Okay, there's quite a few articles here that are there, but I'm not sure which one we're talking about. If it's the one that says Brett Reid, he's obviously talking Cruddy. Well, the term unlikely batting heroes is something that I can't see Kawaja being an unlikely batting hero, put it that way. Green now has scored 941 runs with an average of 40. Yeah, he's great. Tolerating the intolerant. What's the article? Tolerating the intolerant. It's a polarizing issue here. 50-50 here in India. Tolerating the intolerant. Now, I haven't seen that article. I have to look at that one. I'll have a look at that. I'll have a look at that one, and I'll just see if I can get a hold of it. Tolerating the intolerant. Tolerating the intolerance. There we are. Doesn't seem to be turning out. It's more of a quote. Well, we shouldn't be tolerating intolerance, that's for sure. And I agree with anything that Gideon Haig says. It is. Are you doing anything related to IPL? Yes, I will be. Christian, I will be certainly covering the IPL in the best way I can. I'm just going to look at. I'm going to put Gideon Haig in there and see if anything else comes up. Unfortunately, didn't get the. Here we are. Here it is. Here I got it now. It's making me bloody well subscribe. Cricket's mighty good question. Why are we told Gideon Haig post feature Anthony Ellis? Well, if you're going to bring into play both Narendra Modi and Anthony Albanese in the discussion of cricket, quite frankly, it was great that they were together at the Ahmedabad Test at Narendra Modi Stadium. I think it's a wonderful thing. Gideon Haig does have a point in saying tolerating the intolerant. There's an element that goes on, but quite frankly, our relationships with India over 75 years have been magnificent. Whether it's cricket or any other form of medium, we're in a great place, both of our countries, and take our hat off for that. I think it's a wonderful thing. So I have to get this article. If you like your cricket with a side that serve fascistic ostentation, the climax of the Buttercup will be right up your alley. Okay, that's an interesting play on words. We'll wait and see what we get out of that one. I will make note of that article. Thank you for that. I'm actually going to post that as a part of my spray. It's going to be a great thing. All right. So let's go back to this match. India are by no means anywhere but in the middle of it at the moment. We really have got a situation where India are still in this match massively. Of course, Australia can be very smug by getting all that for 480, put themselves in a really fantastic position. But in all fairness, India are well and truly, India can counter this 480 with a very, very solid total. This is just the time for India to get a massive total number two. Headed for a draw. It is, I would argue that's true. It certainly is heading for a draw. Who is your favourite for the WTC final? Okay. Australia's going to play India. Even though Sri Lanka is ahead against New Zealand at the moment, the reality is it'll be Australia versus India. Australia's already through. They'll verse India. Now, this is at the Oval in June. On June 7th to 11th, Australia will be there also in preparation for the Ashes. Steve Smith will have played a few county games. Labuschagne will be pretty well versed as well. I think Australia will fare a lot better there. I don't think Ashwin will be as an Ashwin-Jadeja combination with Axar Patel won't be needed in that match. They'll go back to Shami, Siraj and Umesh Yadav in the bowling. Therefore, the mix of the Indian bowlers will be different. Bumrah's the big question, whether he'll be fit. It's unlikely, but he could be in the mix. That'll make a big difference. Indian batters, will Rishabh Pant be back? I would hope he would be, because Bharat has been reasonable but not great. He's dropped a catch. He dropped head early on 7. Head only got 32, but he was out on 7. He let a lot of buyers go. I wasn't really impressed with Bharat so far. I think bring back Rishabh Pant. I think they missed him. Hopefully Hazel will be back as well. Yeah, true. Hazel should be back for Australia. Cummins, well, interesting how Cummins pans out because of his mother's death. It's going to rock him quite a bit, and he might take some time to get his act together, understandably. As my mother passed away, it took me a while as well. So I've got all the sympathy for Pat Cash, who was not very far from me at all, and good old, well, effectively it's Bronte on Chesterfield Parade, number 27. I know the place very well. I would argue that he will probably find it hard to get back to his full form. Stark should be okay, and obviously Hazelwood will be great use. And I love to see good old Morris get a go. I think he has, really not been given an opportunity. He's been kept on ice for the whole. That's Morris. Morris, the fast bowler, who was the next 150 clicks bowler. He is not yet been used, and probably should have been given Gurns in this match. They bring him along for the whole bloody tour and don't play him. That's bewildering to me. Absolutely bewildering to me. You don't have a bloke play if he's on there for the whole tour. Just looking at some of the comments, I cannot see. People are making comments that India will fall. I think it's way too early to say that. It'll be an effort for them to get the 480, but they're more than capable. We all know that. On this sort of pitch in their home conditions, they should be, laughing all the way to the 450 mark. Ordinary bowling, no, I don't know whether there's been ordinary bowling at all. I think India's bowled bloody well, as a matter of fact. I think Australia's had the best conditions to battle. Boland will do well in England, of course. I shouldn't think of Boland. Well, because playing upcoming shift she'll go. I'm not sure. Haven't really followed Pekoski too much. He's been injured more than it's worth. Dr. Banerjee, seeing Carey's form, any chance for Tim Payne to make a comeback? No, I doubt it. He won't with that respective. Any update on Mitchell Marsh is including the idea. Yeah, there's nothing about his position being. I don't think he'll make it. He's not. Still not in any shape to be there. So I don't know what's going on there. To be honest with you, I can't see him coming back either. Unfortunately, although he'd be quite useful. There's no doubt about that indeed. Much more even contest at the Oval than what we're seeing here. And of course, clearly there's more form to be shown, more of a leveler at the Oval, because both teams are not their home ground. So there's no doubt about that. It'll be a distinct change Australia's next Watson or Simons is what they say about Cameron Green. I think he's surpassed those two, if I'm being honest with you. I just don't think that we have seen the best of Cameron Green. He's already scored a century and he's taken a fifer as well. And he's so young, he could be an ex-captain in the future as well, to be honest. Every chance that could be the case. Greeny's century was just accelerated. I mean, there's only been 3 people score centuries in this series. Robert Sharma, but then, all of a sudden we've got our first 2 in Cam Green and good old Kawaja. No one else has got centuries. It just shows the importance of Kawaja and more importantly of Green. So we didn't have him for the first couple of games due to injury, and we missed him. And it's becoming very obvious now. Well, I don't think we realise how significant he actually is. Very significant indeed. Good for the next T20 captain out of Finch. That's a great question. Can Cameron be the next Ben Stokes? I think he needs to win more games to be able to prove that, Paul. I don't think he's quite got there. You don't definitely need 3 spinners, you're right. Green should be the. Sorry, sir. What do you mean by tolerating the intolerance? When you tolerate countries or people that are intolerant, we have political leaders that have intolerances in their own country, and we tolerate that politically to have good relations. Like there may be classes within Indian society that have certain disparages. We tolerate that you have an intolerance in India about that, or it's a form of prejudice or intolerances that occur. That's what it means. So in other words, diplomacy often makes us do business with countries which are predominantly Muslim that have no desire to have women and portray the desire. Irrespective of the result of this match, do you think Smith will continue as captain? A couple of them, I think he should. Norman Oval's conditions will be favour Australia more than India. No, I don't think so. It'll be pretty much even. Munchie, England ready for the Ashes? That's a good question. Is Munchie, answer that question. Is England ready for the Ashes? They certainly seem to be. They went to New Zealand, they did very well there. If Anderson and Broad are there and they're beautiful batting lineup, they should be bloody, able to actually give us some real touch-up. I think we're in for a battle. Australia will be in for a battle, lads. We're not going to win this. If we continue with Pat Cummins as captain, we will not win the Ashes. Simple answer. If Pat Cummins persists at being Australian captain, we will not win the Ashes. That's my initial prediction. I think we're going to have to go with Smith. And I think Cummins' life situation, with all due respect to his mother's passing, they may have to force his hand. Do you think Anderson will retire after the Ashes? No, I don't think he will. I think you'll have to take him at kicking and screaming, to be honest. What do you think? What are the chances for India in this match? To win Manish Kumble, I don't think so. But to draw, very possible. Very possible indeed. I would say a draw is something that you can almost see happening, really, and that would be a fair result, considering all. There's no doubt about that. I think it would be a fair result. The live review. Yeah, it's certainly something that you would predict that, in all fairness, that you'll see India bat well on the 3rd day and into the 4th day, quite frankly. I don't think Anderson will retire. Munchie, Paul Newman, he should retire at Old Trafford. That's will be a great way to bail out. Munchie, he's not going to retire. Who are you kidding? Anderson could be aiming for Murali 800. I think he's certainly aiming at Warnes 700, that's for sure. Smith's a better captain. His field is on point. I agree. If is the key word. If is always the key word with a lot of this. But look, Smith will continue to captain. I can almost say it factually. Cummins has not been there for the 3rd and 4th test. He's unlikely to return for the ODIs. And with respect to the Australian group, he may not attempt to come back as captain for the Ashes. Anderson, Uncle Boz Stokes is rejuvenated. He loves their style of play, of course. Munchie, I mean, England's going to be one hell of a hurdle for Australia to knock off. There's no doubt about that. No fear about that. We're in for some some treats there. Read my previous comment, please. Capital Verma, I can't keep up with the comments and they're going so bloody far. What was your... Man, you should speak a bit slow as I can't understand your words. Man, I should speak a bit slowly. Okay, all right. All right. Village photography from Tamil Nadu. That's nice to see you from Tamil Nadu. That's nice. So Capital Verm, your comments, I'll try to make more note of. Could be 2-2 again in the Ashes. Well, there's 5 matches, Paul, so you think there'll be a draw in amongst those 5 test matches? I don't think it'll be 2 all at all. I think it'll be 3-2. England's won. What should Australia do to counter basketball in England? Play the same way, play equally as aggressively. Wood Archer back to fitness as well as so extra pace along with Robinson, Wokes, Broad, Anderson, Potts, Stone. But they're not going to all be, Munchie, you're not going to have a team of bowlers, okay? You'll have batters in there too, don't forget. Strong bowling line, yes. No, doesn't mean they can win the match. They have to bat well too. Have baseball type of players like Travis Head and Cameron Green's going to be in there. Travis Head will be batting down the order. He will not be opening. Ashwin's native place is Tamil Nadu, correct? And Ashwin bowled really well, so they got 6 wickets. Congratulations to him. I think it's magnificent to see him playing so well. Really, really fantastic. I know, but who's to choose from? Well, Munchie, they're not going to go past Anderson and Broad. Anderson and Broad will figure quite heavily. Wood and Archer will also heavily feature. Robinson will feature as well. They won't need to go any deeper than that, really. Sandali boys, sir, you're fantastic. Watched all of your videos on border against traffic, but it's not true that we are intolerant. I thought you were talking about Australia when Hindus' temples are demolished. Well, I could be talking about Australia as well. Of course, we're intolerant with our Aboriginals at the moment. We've had people at a football game that are abusing Aboriginals, so we're very intolerant as well. I think India is intolerant, Pakistan's intolerant, Afghanistan's intolerant, Ukraine, well, they're not so much, but Russia, massively intolerant. China's massively intolerant. Politically, the leaders have to be tolerant to the levels of intolerance. That's what it's all about. Do you think they will keep Peter Hanson for the Ashes? Well, he was picked for the Indian series. They may not. They may not. He hasn't been outstanding, to be honest. It's hard to know. Capital Verma, Aussies will be very happy with today's performance and will be going on for a win and not for a draw. Well, Capital Verma, if India bat well and bat all of tomorrow and on the 4th day, then they will have close to the same amount of runs, around the 480 mark, and you will see it peter out to a draw. I can't see India not letting, it's too big an opportunity for India to bat well. India's batting line very, very strong. These two are none for 36 already. If Rohit Sharma and Gill get a bit of luck their way, they could go into a 200-run opening partnership. Pujara will hang around all day. Kohli's due, very much due. And then Shreyas Iyer's there, and they got a lot of batting. And then you go into Axar Patel, Jadeja, and Ashwin. They're going to score 480. Well, India and Australia will play the final. It looks like they will. Couple of them. A result of this match is better for the future of this format. Of course it is, but it's not starting that way. And India will be happy with a draw because they will win the series 2-1 and they'll also make the World Test Championship. This pitch is a road. Well, I don't know about that, Paul. And don't take this wrongly, Paul. I'm a bit over pitch discussions because whether it's a road, whether it's a turning pitch, whether it's green like it was in New Zealand, whether it's whatever you want it to be, both teams have to bat on it. And we proved that just in the last test, a turning pitch which should have favoured India and Australia spanked them. So I don't believe pitches should come into the discussion. it is what it is. Both sides play it, full stop. If it's road, you get bigger batting scores and less bowling wickets. If it's a turning pitch, you get more wickets and less batting scores. That's just the way the cookie crumbles for both sides. So I'm not perturbed by that at all, to be honest. At all. So that's my thoughts on that. I tell you what, though, I'm very happy with the numbers of my viewers. We've got very close to 7.9 million views on my account, and we've got 38,300 subscribers. And I do thank you for that. Although, and it's gone over 7.9 already, I would love to see more subscribers. Okay. I'm from Tamil Nadu. Followed your channel last 1 year. Very grateful. Cricket messages. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Munchie. In Pakistan, the wickets were flat, but England managed results. It's how to play the conditions. Correct. Cavill Verma. Previous pitches raised questions in batting ability, and this pitch will test their bowling ability. Correct. Getting close to 40,000 subscribers. I am very proud of that. If you have 40,000 subscribers, you times it by 10, the people that are viewing, because 1 out of 10 people subscribe. So that means I've got 400,000 viewers in total. That's pretty pleasing. Malham. Usman Khawaja should be selected for the 2023 ODI World Cup because he's one of the best batters in Asian missions. Agree. Should be not just test formats, should be all formats. I totally agree. Totally and utterly agree. No issue with that at all. Totally and utterly agree. It's been very good commentary so far. I'm pretty happy with the way. The video there of the double hits, it's gone crazy. Hey, man, I've become a fan of yours. Should do live videos more often than not. Thank you. Who is better, Harry Brook or Cameron Green? What sort of questions that? Our Earth is best. For God's sake. Harry Brook is definitely a better batter. Bowls a little bit. Cameron Green's good at both. In terms of an all-rounder, it's Cameron Green. In terms of batting, it's Harry Brook. Simple. Harry Brook's not really an all-rounder. Okay, but he's a great batter. Future of England cricket. No doubt. So that's a question that we can ask. Who's better? Harry Brook. Harry Brook's not better at batting, for sure. Cameron Green's a better all-rounder, for sure. No fear about that. It's somewhat of a great thing. Munchie, our Earth is best. What have you written there? Check A, B, D, cheese, but you both good, exciting young players. Best chalk and cheese. Yeah, that's okay. Now I get what you said. Okay. Chalk and cheese. Yeah, well, it is a bit chalk and cheese. And I said that. Well, I said that Harry Brook's a better batter and Cameron Green's more of an all-rounder. We'll get the answer in the Ashes series. Yeah, there'll be an element of that going on. For sure. Usman Khawaja was man of the series in a 5-match ODI series in India in March 2019, which Australia won. So he should be member of the Australian squad. I totally agree. Got a bigger screen, Norman. What do you mean? I've got a bigger screen. 2001 was the last time when Aussies won the Ashes in England. Do you think this time they will break the big pause? Cavill Verma, you would hope that Australia will, and I think they've got a chance, but England could be pretty bloody hard to beat. Usman Khawaja deserves 2023 World Cup. I agree. Honestly, get a bigger screen. Well, I'm getting fat. Is that what you're trying to say? So what you're trying to say? I'm getting fat. Is that what you're saying? Is that the hint, Munchie? Is that the hint? I'm taking it as a hint. In other words, I'm getting chubby. Well, I'm not going to deny that. When I start to lose a bit of weight, watch out. I'll be running around like you wouldn't believe. So last lifetime was 7 miles. Okay. No, so you can read the comments. Okay. I am reading the comments. I'm just not putting them on the screen, that's all. Australia will win the Ashes if Smith is captain. Well, the chances will increase. Why is Justin Langer not selected? It was a great question. Great question. You're not fat. I'm just pleasantly plump. I hope that was plump, not pump. Paul, do you see Todd Murphy next in line after the line retires? Well, yes, probably. And Kerman will also be there. And they're both proving themselves, I'll tell you. Ashes has always been competitive in England, and one side in Australia looking forward for an exciting series. Yes, well put. But England will win. Paul Newman, definitely. Okay. Todd Murphy, yeah, he's certainly proven himself. Kuhneman's done very well as well. Looks like Agar's been pushed aside. Strapson never rated him anyway, to be honest with you. I still think Zampa should be in amongst all this. Irrespective of result from this match, do you think Smith should continue as captain? Yes, definitely. I would have him as captain indefinitely. That is Smith, until we bring Jason Sanger in, which I keep talking about. That's a fair comment in my opinion. Okay. Okay. Australia lost 2021 BGT because they rejected Usman Khawaja, who was one of the best. I agree. Totally agree. No fear. So let's look back over today's play, or over the 2 days' play. Cam Green, Usman Khawaja, great double century partnership. Individual highest scores. Usman Khawaja's second highest score for Cam Green, highest score for Todd Murphy got 41. Brilliant effort. 480 is a magnificent total. Has put them in a position where they're unlikely to lose this match. But to win it, they're going to have to get India out twice, and that's the big question. I don't think they will be able to. I think India will bat certainly tomorrow, being the third day, and quite a substantial amount of the fourth day, which will leave only really 1 day's play to get both teams out. I don't think that's going to happen. Carey played a terrible shot today. He did play. So did Travis Head. Yet again, he got 32, but he was out on 7, dropped by Bharat. And that was a bit disappointing. Certainly. The fact is, India are in the box that can win this series. They've already won the Border Gavaskar Trophy. They're in a position now they're 2-1 up. They could well go 2-1 with a draw. A dumb shot by Head in the end. It was. And he was out on 7. Yet again, he's failing. I'm sorry, he had one easy effort when Team Anna had to get 70 on runs. He got 49. Not unlike Joe Burns did the previous series. Australia went to India late for 36. But he didn't last another couple of tests. Did he? Head needs to understand that strike rate is not always a solution. I agree. Don't you think Aussie should prepare a group of specific players for Asian conditions by seeing them at B-side and junior team? Yes. You heard Cameron Green talk about that he'd been on a few tours in India when he was younger. It certainly helped him. He acknowledged that. So there you go. There you go. That says it all. Your voice got a little low. Is that good or bad? Paul Newman, 2-1 is better than 4-0 at least. That's true. It's very true. I've had the flu kind of virus. I don't want to say it's COVID, but I've had something. Your voice got a little low. Yes, I do. It's kind of before. It's gotten low, but it's it's based on the fact that I have been fluey today. I haven't been 100%. I still can talk, but I wouldn't say I'm at my best. But I'm here, guys. I'm here, and I want you to support me. Is Munchie still here? Paul Newman still here? Make comments, guys. There's some interesting statistics here. What the fuck? Are you a rocker, mate? What am I rocking about? Macron. Justin Langer was not a great coach. Yes, mate, but working as well. Okay, hopefully it's not COVID. No, man, Steve Smith should be in Australia's OU captain. Well, perhaps he should. I don't think it's COVID. Although, who knows these days? Who knows what the hell it is? But if I do come to England, well, I won't be tested, will I? So much you're working as well. It's Friday, so I guess it's time to work. Where's the Vernons? David Gravity's probably not available as well. I haven't invited them actually to be at some place. A bit impromptu, because I didn't know whether I'd be doing it, to be honest. All right. Australia's doing well to select young players for Aussie A games. Well, they're not selecting them for the Australian team, are they? Which is an issue. Certainly is an issue. All right. Oops. Australia's squad for the World Test Champion final question mark. It's going to be, you would think, the same as what we've got now. Probably not Kerman. Might not even have Todd Murphy. You would think Hazel would return. Obviously, Boland will be there. I would give Morris a go. He hasn't really go so far, but I'd give Morris a go. The fast bowler from WA. And needs some more batting, for sure. I'd say Warner will return. Getting over his injury will be important. Mitch Marsh might even get a turn. That's probably the same squad, though. It's Friday night here in Australia. Any other questions, guys? So far, we've had 131 questions asked. 131. Rowan R. Can Australia win this match? Australia can certainly win this match. They're in a position to win the match. India are in a position to potentially draw it but not win. Hopefully, Pat Cummins is back for the World Test. Well, he'll be back as a player. I reckon not as a captain. No one can give me alcohol. No, I can't, Dick Shunt unarmed. No, I can't. Silly questions don't deserve answers. All right. Usman Khawaja is best replacement for Aaron Finch and white ball. I think he would be too. I think he would be, but they're not putting him in there, unfortunately. No one. Talk about racism in Australia and your racist Australian media. Well, I tell you what, we had a problem with rugby league. A guy called Latrell Mitchell was told he was, you know, a black something or other when he left the field. That's pretty bad. So we've got a lot of racism here, especially against Aboriginal. Sean Mars retired today. What's your take? Well, overdue probably. I'm sorry, he was a good player, but he's past his best. Sarabi didn't come here, so I didn't know. I'm waiting for the mother's estate to be sorted. It hasn't happened yet. I'm bloody frustrated, really ticked off. I want him to come. But I'm going to be there by the time the World Cup. I'll have no choice. I'd like to get there early now. Maybe I'll be there for the IPL. But I will make it. When I get to India, I'll be there for a long time. Dekshan Anand, you're asking a silly question. I'm not going to answer it. All right, any more questions which are worth talking? Dekshan Anand, will you stop asking silly questions? I'm watching South Africa versus West Indies. South Africa 5-130. They lead by 199. Both of them very ordinary teams. Both extremely ordinary sides. Both West Indies and South Africa very ordinary sides. They've got good players amongst them, but the sides are shocking. And then the case of New Zealand, they're fair. They do okay. Sri Lanka surprisingly are higher than they probably deserve to be, but they're hanging in. India are doing well, England are doing well, and obviously Australia are. Pakistan I've got a lot of time for. Sri Lanka versus New Zealand series. Well, the score's there. We'll go to that if you like. New Zealand, Sri Lanka were all out for 355. It was a commendable total. And New Zealand at stumps are 5 for 162. So they're still 193 runs in the rear with already lost their 5 wickets. Daryl Mitchell's on 14, Bracewell's on 9. The Sri Lankan bowlers, Asita Fernando took 2 and Custom Rajita took 1. And they're bowling quite soundly. And New Zealand's struggling. Munchie, if you want to see a green wicket, watch New Zealand versus Sri Lanka. That's true. But yet again, Munchie, both teams are playing on the same wicket. And Sri Lanka were able to get 355, which is not their normal ground conditions. Sri Lankans don't play in green wickets back at home. Dakshan Anand, would you stop making the silly comments? So that's the summary on Sri Lanka versus New Zealand. After 2 days of play, Sri Lanka left for 355 and New Zealand 5 for 162. Was still a massive 193 runs in arrears. Sri Lanka are in the ascendancy there for sure. With some of the Sri Lankan batters, I mean, good old Angelo Matthews reached 7,000 test runs. Dinesh Chandimal's only a handful of 5,000. Dimuth Karunaratne's the leading opening batsman scorer for his country. Good night, Paul Newman. You're going to bed. You're going to bed, Paul. It's 11:26 p.m. I guess. If you're in Australia, which you are, I believe, it's getting late. Just because a wicket looks green does not mean it will swing and seam all over the place. Sri Lankan batters loaded, comfortable, correct? Exactly. But it doesn't matter if it's green, if it's red, or if it's yellow, or if it's white. It's about how well both teams handle the conditions, and that is the key. Papua New Guinea scored 9 for 246, defeating the UAE. That's a bit of a shock. Papua New Guinea are very talented sports people, I must say. Very surprising how talented they actually are. And South Africa is 5-134. They're struggling against Badumas on 71. But that means the rest of the team have certainly fallen away. Baduma's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? He was made captain at one stage. Not when you're looking, where is your wife? I'm divorced. I've got some female company here and there, but they're not here now. My son's actually in the other room. I couldn't even get into the place, so I was locked out. My wife, I'm divorced, so I'm not married, so no point in going there. Bavuma 72 with Mulder on 14. So he's lead by 204, which may be enough against the Western Insider. Only Jason Holder is worth. Look at this. So that was a Dean Elgar and Aidan Markham, we know. Tony DeZorzi, never heard of him. Temba Bavuma, yes. Ryan Rickles, never heard of him. Heinrich Klassen, I have, but not great. Ryan Mulder, a little bit. Kesha Maharaj, yes. Simon Humber's not a bad spinner. Gerald Kurtzi, I saw him bowl, he looked quite speedy. And Kagiso Rapala, we all know how good he is. WTC final venue is the Oval. Suits Australia or their opponents. I think it's pretty even for both. Both teams will have to get their act together on that pitch. Shame it's so quiet with hardly any crowd. Yeah, at the test match at Ahmedabad, even in South Africa, the first day they were claiming 130,000 would be there, and they did get a fair crowd because the Prime Ministers were there. But after that, it fell away something higher. There's maybe 5,000 there today. How many children do I have? I have a son who's 26, some stepdaughters, but they're not living with me anymore. And 20 girls who I call daughters, who are the players that play for various countries. And Winifred Durasayams, the Nakshia Silvers, the Shapali Wirakodis, the Rebecca Van Dorts, and the Puni Hunsigers, the Charles Shimons, Jane Allen, all of them. I like those to me. Well, there we have. We've had 1,000 views of this live stream tonight, which is pleasing to have. 185 messages. Very good. All right, so the Oval London pitch is suitable for this Australian side or not? Please elaborate. Okay, the Australian side will be ready for it because it'll have Steve Smith, Labuschagne, a few others having had some red ball experience in the county system. I think it'll suit Australia in the batting department probably more. Bowling-wise, it's pretty even, actually. I think Shami, Siraj and Umashav will enjoy, with Bumrah, will enjoy the England conditions. Australia will have Stark, Hazelwood, they'll do well, but they're not as well suited. The spinners will not. Ashford could even struggle to get a Guernsey, so as he's done before in England. And don't forget, New Zealand played India in the last World Test Championship final. New Zealand won that. So maybe New Zealand was slightly favoured more than India. Australia and India, maybe a little bit more even. The Oval can be good for spin, but will be dependent on the overhead conditions. Yes, I agree. As we English say, look up, not down when considering the pitch, which we can't do until today. Pujara has played a lot English counties as well, Ashwin as well. So there you go, Munchie. They've got experience as well as the Australian batters of Smith and Labuschagne, Pujara, probably Gill as well, I think, and also Ashwin. But then Ashwin didn't play the last time India played in England, which is bizarre. It doesn't make any sense at all. Who should be Australia's wicketkeeper of the World Test Championship final and Oval? At this point, it's going to be Carey. Pujara has played a lot for England counties, as I said. Yep, that's correct. So Carey's not going anywhere at this point. He'll be still the keeper. I don't think he'll be dropped. I mean, not much hope of that happening. Yeah, the keeping position for Australia is pretty well settled, I think. I don't think we'll see much of a difference there. Okay, I've gone an hour, guys, just about 40 seconds shy. Providing it's dry, the Oval will be a fairer pitch for both teams than the Rose Bowl last year in Southampton. Okay. Munchie's making a call to say the Oval will be a bit more balanced, fairer pitch to both sides, which will even up the match between Australia and India. I think it'll be a cracker. It'll be an absolute cracker. Not New Zealand, India have made the last two World Test Championship finals. You would think England would be a bit of a special for the next time around, to be honest. Muncie's making some very good points there. 195 messages. I'm bored of South African batting, I tell you. Hello, Ahmed Raza, how are you? Maham, Australia should find a better, good wicket like Gilchrist, or at least someone like Tim Payne for the World Test Championship final. It's too late. They're going to stick with Carey. Norman, are you Indian? Golden Tiwari, I'm not Indian. I'm sorry. I'm Australian. I was born here, but I have German background. But I've spent time, I was married to a Sri Lankan, which makes me more of that background than not. I guess the more subcontinent you would imagine. No, I'm not Indian though. Okay. Munchie. Gilly was unique, very difficult to replace. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. He has been difficult to replace for some time. All right, so at this point, Australia are all out for 480. India are none for 36. So India are effectively 444 behind. But without having lost a wicket, they're in a good position. Gill and Rohit Sharma could well put on a double century opening partnership. I think Pujara will excel, and even Kohli and Shreyas Iyer will. So that top five will be pretty bloody lethal. You would think they would take on the majority of the runs between them. That's my thoughts, at least. Well, Australia cricketers should skip IPL for the WT Superation. I agree. But when you're offered millions to play, as Cameron Green has been, at such a young age, I don't think he's going to knock that back. And with all due respect, we have to respect that, don't we? It's a fair thing to say. Tomorrow will be the hardest day for Aussies in this tour of India. Yeah, I think it will be too, because India will bat really well. Eunice Seek, I agree. Golden Tiwari, fourth test match is so boring. No, it's because they're batting a lot. Is that the reason why you're saying it's? I think it's. Oh, I don't think there's a reason at all. We've had now 200 messages. Fourth test is not boring. If you like batting, I like batting some. I'm happy. Ahmed Raza, how are you? What do you make of Ahmedabad wicket, Norman? Is it the fair pitch? Yes. Probably the best pitch in terms of getting batting going, for sure. I can't see a problem with it at all. For sure. Had 200 messages got. Okay, what's going on here? What's the comments here? What do that? Munchie said there were reports coming out from MCC committee, including ex-players from around the world, that the playing schedule is getting too much for the players. Too many T20 league clashes. I've got no doubt. But Munchie, it's driven by money. They'll play if you get offered 20 grand to be here, 50 grand to be there, you're going. I mean, you'll burn yourself silly if you have to, because if you're getting paid money, you'll go. Well, Australian cricket will skip cricket poison, i.e. IPL for the World Test Champion final preparation at advanced. David Warner should skip. David Warner won't skip. And Hazelwood's also using the IPL to get back in the conditions, so they're not going. They're not going to skip. Vinay Jagdal, not picking Khawaja in light for the 16-17 series. he said he didn't get the support. Who are they? Those guys from your point of view. Langer, the cricket board, it was racially driven, I believe. MCC World Committee. Okay. David Warner should focus on World Test Championship final instead of IPL. I agree. If he's serious about his cricket at his age, yes, I agree. Totally agree. What's your prediction for tomorrow, Norman? I think India will bat very well. I think India will be 4 for 300 and something tomorrow. 4 for 320. Arrows is best. Maham, no. Warner shouldn't be playing. I mean, he's a follow. His average is 20.39. I'm afraid if bloody Travis Head can play, then Warner can play. Warner will still be there. No doubt, no fear, Warner will be there still. Warner will maybe still, will definitely be there still. Justin Langer watch Isman Quaid's batting? Probably not. Hayden should be a coach in Australia. He's coached very well in Pakistan, hasn't he? Ahmed Raza. How do you rate Cam Green's knock on yesterday? He was playing sedately, but today he came out all guns blazing. He played well towards last night up with a new ball came onto him. Fantastic. But in his sake, Ashwin is excellent. And this plate pitch, do you agree? Yes, Ashwin's got incredible bowling ability. Munchie, I need to go now. Great catching up with everyone. Good chat today. Enjoy the cricket. Thanks, Munchie. Munchie's always been good value for us to have on. I would like to have had him live. Anyway, we'll get him on next time. All right, guys. How are we heading with time now? Oh, we certainly have nailed the whole overall experience, I'll tell you. Ashwin is a precious jewel. I agree. Cam Green's average is better than Labuschagne on the subcontinent. I agree. Australia played 2 matches of the series. There's a Pakistan tournament which resulted in 1. Yeah. Green has done really well in his all subcontinental tours so far. That's true. It's been fantastic. A lot of time for him. We all agree how good he is. 7.9 million views on my YouTube channel. 7.9 million. 38,300 subscribers. Haven't really moved much to late. You obviously have a lot of revisits from people that I know. Green has done really well, yes. It has started to turn a bit. What do you guys think? Dinesh Chowdhury, it has, but it's too early to really judge how much it's turning. I think Lionel will get a few wickets, but not many. And the Indian batters will dominate tomorrow. And people are commenting about my tolerance. I shouldn't have put it up. I'm going to play good till day 4. I think it will too. And it's definitely the hardest place to runs. Do you think the pitch is deteriorating tomorrow? Not a great Abhishek. And Vinay Jagdal, I think it is one of the hardest places here. It'll play good until day 4. Yeah, that's what it'll do. Ahmed Raza Green was sumptuous in Pakistan, doing well. Khawaja and Mars, yeah. I agree. Certainly has been impressive indeed. Shanti Om. People ask him to explain the tolerant intolerance. Well, political leaders tolerate countries that are intolerant. because politically they have to get along. They may not believe in their intolerance or their lack of tolerance for certain nationalities, races, cultures, but we put up with it for the basis of having a good understanding of each other. And when you bring together Anthony Albanese and Narendra Modi, you have that same happen. They're both good leaders. They both get along. Their middle point is cricket. 75 years of compassion, but there's tolerating the intolerance. He missed his time, yes. Abhishek, yes, he did. Kawaja missed it, but he can't really say he missed it. He got 180 still. Australia-Pakistan series of 2010, hosted in England. Yeah, I remember that. I think it was the last time Australia bowled non-England team, faced a non-England team in England in a test match. Now they will play the WTS Championship final. Great point. Great point. A rare time Australia's playing against someone other than, great point. Totally get it. Very good point, Mo. Very good point. First time Australia playing a subcontinent team in England. Hoping for a draw on as an Indian. This test was, a win will be a miracle. I think it will be a miracle. So the team was held in England and Sri Lanka. Australia versus Pakistan test. Yes, I remember. Remember that. All right. Any more good questions? Because I'm going to call it stumps in a minute. Had 229 questions asked. 229 questions asked in this broadcast. About 1,176 views. It's okay. I think they will go with Head and Usman, what is the openers, and not Warner. Head will probably be dropped down the middle order and Warner will come back in. That's my prediction. They won't open with Head in England. They won't do that. That'll be a mistake. Not many other questions. I've got 232 questions all for there. Somebody's writing in Hindi and I can't understand it. Abhishek Kumar, I can't understand. Anyway, do you miss Virat as captain? Yeah, I do. Any predictions for Abhishek? I'll tell you it again. India will be 4 for 300 plus. Do you miss? I missed Virat Kohli, and I think the score will be 4 for 300 plus tomorrow. India. Someone will get a big 100 too. All right. Any other questions, guys? It's been an hour and 15 minutes or thereabouts since I started the episode. These rain turners really affected our batsman confidence. Well, Indian batters' confidence, Australia certainly picked their act up together. This last match is a lot more of a batter-friendly surface, and that'll suit both battings. Australia's got 480. India should be able to match that. And that will mean into the fourth day, which will only leave the fifth day for both teams to play, which is not going to be enough time for a result. It'll probably be a draw, which means India wins 2-1. They can't be unhappy with that. Really. Can't be unhappy about a 2-1 with a draw at the end. I certainly wouldn't be unhappy. Any other questions, guys? Otherwise, we'll stop the show. We've gone a good hour and 15 minutes, and but it's cricket. Anything can happen. Yes, that's true. Unless an Australian claps, there's no India win. I agree. It'll be at best a draw for India, and if India bat badly, they'll lose the match. But I don't think India will bat badly. All right, last 3 questions. If someone give me 3 questions quickly, I'll answer them, and we'll finish up. Here we go. Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India should play their Test cricket in Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. England. Similarly, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, South Africa should play Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India. I agree. Piyush Sharma. Will India be able to qualify for the World Test Championship final? If they draw, yes. If they win, of course they will. They draw, yes. Sri Lanka have to win both the Test matches that are being played in New Zealand. They look like they could win the first, and I think even if they win the second, they can't make it if India draw this match. If India lose, they might sneak in. But I can't see India losing this. They'll bat both the 3rd and 4th day and turn this into a draw. There's your answer. That's 2 questions. One last question, then we'll stop. Nothing is forthcoming. We'll have to stop. Will India play? I've said that. Only one more question. Just one more question, guys. Anyone got one last question to throw at me, and then we'll call it quits for the night. Waiting on one more question. If it's not forthcoming, I will call it a night. South Africa and West Indies, that's tiring to watch. Sri Lanka and New Zealand has been pretty good. Australia and India has been exceptional. England versus New Zealand was exceptional. Who do you support in the IPL? That's my last question from Christian Balubramaniam. I've always gone for Kolkata Knight Riders, but Delhi Capitals has been my team of late. Kolkata Knight Riders from day dot, but now I'm leaning towards Delhi Capitals. All right, that's enough, guys. We'll have a great episode here again. I haven't worn my cricket hat. Don't forget to view, like, and share the post. Subscribe and share as much as you possibly can to support my channel. We've had some 250 comments and some 1,230 views, so I'm pretty happy with that. Are you watching PSL? A little bit, Maham, but not as much as I would like to. I haven't spent enough time doing that. I've been a little bit preoccupied, but I will do more of that. All right, guys. Catch up with you soon again. Join me hopefully tomorrow with some more exciting information to talk about. Otherwise, stay tuned, subscribe, share the posts, even look at the merchandise if you want to. I'm wearing some of it now. There. Okay. It'd be nice if you could do that. It'd be nice to receive a bit of feedback on that. All right, Pakistan Super League. I know what the PSL is, Mohan. Pakistan Super League, of course. Harris Ralph, they're doing well. A lot of England's players are there as well. Not many Australians. Oh, we've got a few questions later. Anjali. India will play tomorrow, whole day. Mark Moyes, I know they will. So good. Sandhu, you say no. India will play tomorrow. Yep. I think they will too. I think you're pretty well right. It will be a full day's batting from India, and they'll be batting on the 4th day as well. And we'll certainly. Who was your favourite team in the PSL? Lahore Qalandars. That's for sure. Sukham Sandhu, how are you? All right. That's enough. It's 1 hour. Now we're coming up to 1 hour and 20 minutes of live YouTube. And I think I've had enough. So all the best, guys. Stay tuned, subscribe, view, like, and share. Subscribe, pass on, show everybody the videos. We'll talk to each other again tomorrow. See you later.